Everybody said I was going to open a donut shop and get fat. I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was when I opened this shop. And I attribute that completely to CrossFit Port Clinton. I'm Jim Barton. I own Lake Donuts in Port Clinton, Ohio.
What's your address?
70 Jefferson Street, 70. We're down right between Sassy Sal's and the Subway in downtown Port Clinton. Honestly, I had no desire to own a donut shop. I moved here full-time a few years ago. I was always a weekender, and I just wanted a business, something to tie me to the community. And I always thought it was weird we didn't have a donut shop. And so when I had the chance to buy this building, I knew right away I wanted to make it into a donut shop. It had been empty for like 20 years, so it was a complete gut and rehab. And then I had to learn how to make a donut because I had never made a donut before. So I was all the way at the end of the project, shop completely built, close to opening before I'd ever made my first donut. So I just wanted a business in town.
What was that process like, learning how to make a donut?
Well, I lucked out and found a really cool guy to teach me. And we had worked a lot over he lives out in Oregon on the West Coast. We talked a lot on the phone and worked that way, but then he flew out and we worked together for a few weeks. They're all his recipes. He's teaching me how to make everything. And that was overwhelming, to say the least. I kind of jumped first and then figured out the details later. And I think when it first hit me how many things I had to make in a short period of time, my initial reaction was there's zero chance I could do this. But I didn't have an option at that point, so I just muscled through, and it's a blast. Like, it's so fun. Right now, there are people in the front of the store. People line up. They come early in the morning to buy something that I spent the night making. So that's really cool to me. Plus, I love sugar, so there's that. I know you're not a fan of sugar,
Yeah,
but you're the anti-sugar guy. I'm the pro-sugar guy. I
know. So what's the process like? What time do you get here? What do you do when you get in here?
I come in at 11:30 at night. I head to the shop, and because we open at 6. So I make 2 different style donuts, cake donuts and yeast donuts both. So I start with the cake donuts, and I run through usually 2 to 4 different varieties of cake donuts. And then after I finish those, I start on the yeast donuts. They take about 4 hours to run a batch of yeast donuts because they has to rise multiple times and rest and then proof, and then you fry. So those go right before we open. It's about when I finish those. I'm usually finishing up right about opening time.
What are your hours?
6 until 11 or until we sell out. Summertime Saturdays are always a little rough for us because I'm one guy who, I give it my best. But like yesterday, I think I made about 50 dozen donuts and I think 80 fritters. And we were sold out at 9 o'clock. And that was, that was all I had in me. I didn't have anything. That was all I could do. So that's frustrating for me because I don't like when people make the effort to come out here and I don't have anything for them. So I'd like that people enjoy it, but I also wish I could be here for everybody that wants to come out. But unfortunately, I just can't because everything's made from scratch.
What's the max capacity that you can do in a day? Was that about it?
That is, we're getting close. I can always, it's easy to pump out more cake donuts. That's just, you make a wet batter and it's deposited into the fryer. It's a pretty fast process. I could sit down now and I could have another 10 dozen cake donuts before 9 o'clock, so just over an hour. But the yeast, because it's a timed process, if I went any bigger, I would run into where stuff would be overproofing before I could fry it. So I'm at about the max on yeast donuts and what I can make, and unless I wanted to start really automating or taking some other shortcuts that I don't want. donuts
I know
either.
we talked about your hours, but I know that some days you don't sell out.
Yes.
So at 11 o'clock, you go around town like Santa Claus delivering donuts.
I do.
So it's, again, going back to the price of the donut, it's not always about making a dollar.
No.
You're doing good for people in the community. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I enjoy that. When I have extra donuts, I'll box up dozens, take them out, usually to local restaurants, to their kitchens, or local businesses, the banks, or whoever. And sometimes I'll ask online for people to, if you're at work downtown, let me know and I'll bring donuts. And so then I deliver them over the courthouse or wherever. And it's fun because you walk in with donuts, people know right away they're getting a treat. And it's fun. You get to be like Santa Claus. And yeah, that's how I was just taking some donuts over to the neighbors.
What about your pricing? I know we're like the highest priced gym in town.
Yeah, I'm the highest priced donut shop
People
around.
always bitch about the price.
Well,
What do you have to say about that?
my donuts are expensive. But that's what I need to charge in order to pay employees a fair wage. We all know how expensive real estate is right now. Operating a shop is very, very expensive. Every piece of equipment I have in here is expensive. And I won't be buying any 50-foot boats on my profits from my $3 donuts. But yeah, they're not cheap. There's no such thing as a bad donut as far as I'm concerned. And there are all different markets out there. And, Walmart, you can get a dozen donuts for $8. And I mean, they're not bad. They're not bad. I'm a guy that likes sugar. But I make them from scratch. And, I buy eggs and milk and buttermilk and cocoa powder. And all that stuff's expensive. And then, like I said, I want to pay my employees a decent wage. And everybody that works here makes a decent amount of money, other than the owner. But.
And that's the thing, is like, you do put effort into making a healthier version of a donut. Like, there's still a ton of sugar in it and stuff, but you're using better ingredients than what you
Yes. Yeah, I know all the ingredients. Healthy is probably a stretch, but I know the ingredients that go in there, and I like cooking that way. And, just like you with your gym, your most expensive gym around, at the end of the day, it's got to be worth the time that you put in and the effort. And so you have to charge whatever it costs you, whatever makes it make sense. Because if you get below that, then it doesn't make sense to do it. I love doing this. I love doing this. I probably wouldn't do it for free, or I probably wouldn't pay to do it. I do it because it makes me happy, it makes people happy, and it brings in money. That's why we run a business. And if it didn't, I would probably, if it was just losing money, then I would probably find something else to do with the building, which is probably what you guys would do with the gym. You gotta make money because it's, we all have bills to pay.
We do. We like helping people, but it's not a nonprofit.
Exactly.
You gotta make some money.
You have to make a living. They came out. I try not to eat too many donuts, but you do have to sample from time to time to make sure that they're okay. Those are okay. They are. Let's see here. Equipment-wise, up front here, I've got a sheeter. These roll out. It's like an automatic roller. This is the closest thing I have here to automation. It'll let me roll my yeast dough in a repeatable way, meaning always to the same thickness. It's faster. I didn't have this when I opened, and it's improved it a lot. Here's where I proof the yeast donuts. Everything gets fried in the fryer. Got my exhaust hood here. Copper kettle where I make some jellies and jams and heat some liquids. The oven, all we do is bacon for maple bacon. That's a really big bacon maker. That's all we do. All our filled donuts get filled right here by hand. 2 big mixers in the corner got a 60 quart for my icings and glazes, and my yeast donuts. The 20 quart, every bit of the cake donuts gets mixed in the 20 quart. I have multiple glazers that I use for glazing the donuts with different glazes. 3-compartment sink in the back we use when washing and sanitizing. And then, let's see, my dry storage there, powdered sugar, flour, shortening, cocoa powder, box of yeast. They're all like, I use basic ingredients, the kind of stuff that you have at home, the things that you would use to make a donut if you wanted to make a donut in your kitchen, which I don't recommend. Lake Donuts, we do have some Lake Donuts hoodies and t-shirts, a couple koozies in back. We're well into the day on Sunday and our case is still holding up nicely. We still have a lot in back to come out too. Thank you so much for coming in, folks. I wanted a business in town, and so I figured I'd learn how to make donuts. It wasn't like a lifelong passion for donuts. It was more of a passion for Port Clinton and wanting something to tie me to the community. And this has done that more than I ever could have expected. I'm in the store or in a restaurant, and people come up and say hi, and you know that they like the donuts and that they appreciate it, or they like the silly videos I do on Facebook. I get that a lot. I get that a lot, mostly from my mom. But yeah, it has done exactly what I wanted it to do. It's tied me to this community because I love Port Clinton. It's just when I was a weekender here, it just always made me happy to be in Port Clinton. And when I was able to move here full time, it was just an amazing thing for me. And then the fact that I was able to open this really makes me happy.
What am I doing here?
So my daughter is a CrossFitter, and I've never exercised in my life ever. And as a birthday present to her, after I moved up here, I decided to join the local CrossFit gym that I didn't know anything about. I knew I had a neighbor who went, and so I decided to join and was introduced to it. And it was nothing like I expected. You guys were able to work with me on what I can and can't do, and so that I'm not killing myself in there, but I'm exercising. Everybody said I was going to open a donut shop and get fat. I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was when I opened this shop, and I attribute that completely to CrossFit Port Clinton. The community in there, the coaches, the staff, at least one of the owners are amazing. And it's just, you guys are so helpful. And the way everybody in there just embraces everybody else. Nobody judges. It's, you go to a workout and there are people across the entire scale working out. And it's just nice. It's a comforting place to work out, and it's coaching that I certainly needed and need, and that's most of the focus there is on doing things the proper way and just looking for improvements in yourself. And I'm certainly not where I probably should be, but at 55, I'm, like I said, lighter than I was, and I'm definitely stronger than I've been since I was a child. So that's what you're doing here. You've been a big part of of this community for me.
Yeah. What would you recommend?
Try that French cruller I just made. Well, here you can actually try one. Since there's a few that don't. That won't be going in the case. That thing's too ugly to go in the case. Just grab it. So that is essentially egg, flour, a little bit of sugar. Yeah, it's light.
It's like a small funnel cake almost.
Yes, very similar. So I boil water, and then I mix in my dry ingredients, which is flour, sugar, salt. I make that into a paste in that copper kettle, and then put it into my 20-quart mixer, let it rest, and then mix it on low for a minute, and then temper in a whole lot of egg. And then once I get it the consistency I want, a little bit of baking powder, you let it rest, and then it's just deposited into the fryer. And it comes up with a light, fluffy, yes, very similar to a funnel cake. It's a great donut.